Hey, what's up guys, I'm Victorian and welcome back to Victoria 3 as we are playing as the United States. So let's go ahead and jump on into today's episode. I'll let this play. I've already got some stuff constructing, though of course we'll have to come back in here soon, I'm sure. And what I did was I built based off of the standard of living. So I went to through all the states, just clicking on them and seeing who had the lowest standard of livings and then building in those ones. It was typically around 18, I think, is the states that have the lowest, 18 point something. And so I focused on building in those ones, mostly just their resources that they had. So like if they could build logging camps, we built those, or, different types of farms. Just stuff that we could use, regardless. Stuff that we always need. We are losing a lot of money right now. I think this is because we're currently not using investment fund, maybe? Nope, we're using the investment fund. Okay, it's fine. What we're going to do is, now that we pass that law, I am going to go ahead and pass a new tax, consumption tax. Got to make up for some of this shortage that we have here. We still got a lot in the gold reserve, but if we're going to be having a war anytime soon, that's going to be more expensive. And so let's just go ahead and make use of the authority that we have. Now, if we used all 200 of it, then that would potentially result in us going in the negative once our president changes. Maybe not, though, because I think it looks like we're actually losing some of our authority from our current president, President Price. We're losing negative 40 because he's not very popular, but he has given us a plus 20% as well. So I don't know if we want to use all 200 by taxing the services. That would make up most of our loss here. I think we might tax something else instead that just uses 100 authority. Yeah, I think that'd be the best way to go. So let's go with, it does seem that porcelain would be the best thing to tax. So that's what we'll do. So that'll get rid of some of the deficit, but as you guys see, we're still pretty deep in the hole here. But I'm sure we can fix that as we get more taxes from these buildings that we're going to be constructing and expand our economy. So I'm noticing that we have some type of issue here, but this is not part of our El Salvador. This is that little partial piece of a state that they got from Mexico. They're having a revolution there. As surprising as it is. You wouldn't expect it, but that's what's happening here. So we're gonna just declare our neutrality. We really don't care about this. I don't think anybody else will get involved either. And as you guys can see, this is another issue with Victoria. We've seen it throughout the series. They're just constant revolutions in the game. Now, as a player, you don't see very many. We've had, one actual rebellion? The Cuban one? Yeah, because that Mexico one, that was before we had conquered them. So we've had one rebellion ourselves, but the AI is just constant revolts. Now, we haven't really seen that with the major powers, I suppose. There's been a couple. Austria had that rebellion. I don't know if France did. I know Britain, I don't think they did. So the great powers seem to avoid it, but there's a lot of revolutions in the game, guys. Now, of course, here in the Americas, it makes sense to have that there would be revolutions. It just seems a little bit too frequent, in my opinion. There's something I was going to go look at. I forgot what it was. Got distracted there. Yeah, we're still burning off. It looks like we dropped down to number 2 here. But we're still currently burning off that infamy. We're at 16.2 now. And also reducing relations with the British. It looks like we just got supplanted by France again. And that's not because their prestige increased dramatically, but because ours actually declined some. I'm not entirely sure why that is. Yeah, I'm not sure why it decreased, but our GDP is still significantly higher than France's. Now, looking at this is a defensive pact for Brazil. Nobody's likely to attack us. Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to attacking us. So we're just going to decline that. We'll probably be the aggressors in most conflicts for the rest of the series. So yeah, I don't think that'd be all useful, guys. Just result in us having to defend them in any conflicts that they end up being the defender in. So again, having that same event here with the oil. The leader of the industrialists just died. And looks like we have another unproductive trade route. You know what, that's probably fine because we just need the rubber. So we don't even care that that's unproductive, because anybody we can trade rubber for, we're going to, because we need it so badly. Though it might actually be a better price. Well, maybe not. I was gonna say it might be a better price here, but it's not. It's not any better, guys. But yeah, we can look for more import routes. Yeah, there's nothing else. Just those two that we're already doing with Scandinavia and with the British. Now, one thing I did want to do here, something that got brought up in the comments by several people. So first of all, a lot of people thought we needed to switch the rubber plantations over to the automatic irrigation, but that does not have this building does not have access to the automatic irrigation. From my understanding, that might be getting added in the 1.1 patch. I think I saw something about that, so maybe that'll be available and give us a method to increase the overall rubber that these produce. But right now, that is not an option. As far as production methods go, it's nothing to actually increase the amount of rubber that these buildings produce. We don't have anything available for that. There's not anything available throughout the whole game. But there are other things in here that we do need to be changing up. So we could change up all the maize farms over to chemical fertilizers, and that will result in fertilizer going to become a bit more expensive, but that's okay. And we'll produce a bit more grain. There's only a few buildings I think that haven't been changed up here. I think with all of these that we're changing up, I think they're just in locations that we recently got. So like here in Guatemala, we're just switching those ones up. Because they were on a different production method when we conquered them. So dye plantations, for instance. So we're just going to switch all these up to automatic irrigation. It's going to get us a bit more of those resources. And probably change these guys up as well. I wouldn't be surprised if some of our new states were actually using the fishing trawlers and thus creating a demand for clippers that we couldn't meet. So it's good we got that fixed. Another thing here that we haven't looked at yet. Now, oil's not really that expensive right now, so probably don't want to do that in this moment because I think engines are more expensive. It would be profitable though, and that's what really matters. I mean, I guess if it's profitable, then why not? Yeah, I guess we'll switch over to it, and we'll just have to, improve the cost of engines. That's fine. All right, so I believe that's everything we needed to change over to. I suppose we could do the mechanized slaughterhouses and change up all those, and I think we're good here. Yeah, we're good to go. All right, so we're going to finish constructing this here, and then we'll take a look at how our economy has changed based on those adjustments we made and all these buildings we just produced. Because, yeah, we were building quite a few different things here. And we should get this line here done, and then we'll take a look at what we want to get next. We have 20.8 million loyalists in the country, so people love our government, and why wouldn't they? Everybody is doing extraordinarily well. Look at that standard of living. All across our country, we are in the green. We are probably one of the best in the world, if not the best. Yeah, we're number one, so still above Montenegro. And yeah, we're doing great. Britain has declared us a rival. Okay, so probably because we're over here reducing opinion with them. Let's see if we can now attack. Yep, so that's what it was, guys. So it was that the British, we had to get their opinion lower. And I think the reason for that is because Canada is actually a puppet rather than a dominion. I think that if they were a dominion, then we wouldn't have to do that. Only Canada's opinion would matter. Now, I think the British are still at war with Germany. Yeah, it's still ongoing here. And I'm not entirely sure who's going to win this one. It is really close. Now, if you look at the sheer number of casualties, it does seem that the Scandinavian side, which is the one that the British are on, are facing the most dead and wounded. But the cost of the war, well, it's been more expensive for the German side. Quite a bit more expensive. But let's just compare the British. Let's look at the British. That's who we really care about here. It's 1.62 million. So they have spent quite a bit less than Germany or Scandinavia has. So they're just not as mobilized, more than likely. And as far as dead goes, though, they had the most dead due to attrition, 132,000. Wounded, 135,000 of the British. So a lot of casualties here, guys. So this is the perfect time. Even though our attrition, or excuse me, I said attrition, I mean our infamy is still not quite where I wanted that to be, but that's okay. We're capitalizing on the opportunity that this war provides us. So yeah, we're going to go and declare war on them now. I'm unsure if we will get this started in this episode or not. But yeah, let's go ahead and do So there's multiple ways to do this. We could go ahead and try and conquer this territory first, and then try and get Ontario with it. No matter what, it's going to look strange, guys. We'll see how much we can get, guys. We're going to go ahead and start with... I really feel like Ontario is where we should have the main claim be. So if they do give in, then we'll at least get that. So we'll have somewhere else to build our power plants. So I think that's going to be the key location that we want to go after. So let's go and do the Conquer State, Ontario. And this is going to result in us having to fight the Canadians and the British. And I'm hoping that the French and Austrians stay out of this. I wonder if they are at all open to an alliance. They'll do a trade agreement because ours was canceled. That would result in us losing a lot of money. I don't know if we can do that right now. Would enrich our pops, of course, but yeah, I just don't know that we'll be able to do that at the moment. And pretty far away from being able to form an alliance with them. So just proposing the trade agreement probably wouldn't be enough. And not really anything that we can do with the Austrians. Yeah, if we did this, then it would cause us further issues when it comes to our current money. So yeah, we're just not going to be able to do anything there. We'll just go ahead and hope they don't join. I suppose it really depends on how much we attempt to take. If we try and take a lot, then the great powers are far more likely to get involved here, guys. All right, so we're going after Ontario. Let's go and add our other war goals. Everybody knows our intentions here. We are not going to be happy with just one state. We want quite a few here, guys. So we're going to go after, let's see what we want to do. I'm thinking you definitely want to get this one here because it neighbors Ontario, and we have such a small piece of that state currently. So I think we should do this one, and this one at the very least. But it also makes sense to go after British Columbia. And then you have this whole section here. So let's go and make those demands now to conquer more of their territory. So this is all British stuff. We don't want to see their stuff just yet. I don't know if we will take over any of this. It would make sense to grab some of that as well. But first, let's get the territory here and just see how we're looking on total infamy. Because it's probably going to be pretty high at this point. Yeah, I expect it to be pretty significant after we make these demands here. You get a lot of infamy in this game for each state. All right, so this is the next one. And where are we at right now? We're at 58, so we can still get maybe 2 more or so. Maybe 3 more. Just really depends on what those costs are. So we'll take Alberta as well, and then that's all those states that we currently have a piece of. It's going to result in a weird looking map here, guys, but it is what it is, because we can add 1 more state. Yeah, really just... I mean, you could do a couple more, I suppose, but infamy is getting very high here, guys. And I would like to add this one, the British Guatemala. So let's go ahead and do that, guys. We'll add that one, and maybe that's it, guys. I don't know. Oops, wrong button there. I suppose we could also, do the war reparations. Yeah, we could do the war reparations too. So let me just see if I can find this. There's a lot of stuff here. You should be able to do it through here, honestly. I don't think there's any way to do that. Yeah, no way to do that, unfortunately. I wish you could do it through the map. That'd be nice. All right, so here we go. British Guatemala. Let's go and add that. And we should end up being pretty high now. Yeah, we're very high on the infamy. So I think that's all we're going to go after for now, guys. That'll get us a little bit more rubber. I suppose we could do war reparations as well. We just don't want to do anything that's going to result in us gaining infamy. So yeah, we can do war reparations on the British and on the Canadians as well. We'll do it on both of them. Alright, so we're asking for a lot here. We could also force the British to liberate a subject too. That would be an option if we just wanted to spend more of our points. But remember, the more we demand from Britain, the more difficult it will be to get them out of the conflict. So I think this is probably good. Right now they're giving us 1 state and war reparations, and then the Canadians are the ones that are going to be losing the most here. It looks like we are also short on market access. I don't know if I have anything building for that just yet. Probably not. So we're going to get that fixed. So in Pennsylvania here, we're going to want to get more railways. And I think part of the reason why Pennsylvania is having so many issues, besides all the building we've been doing here, is also because they don't have any ports, which add a little bit to the infrastructure. You know, they don't have a coastline in the game. And so that might be causing some problems there. Here, let me just take a look how bad it is. Yeah, they're using a lot of infrastructure, and that's probably because we built up all these plantations and stuff. So we'll want to get, I mean, they don't have any rails either. We could probably just get one level here, and I think they'll be okay. But we'll get a port as well. Just step that up a little bit. Because we actually need convoys. I had a bunch of ports building before we started the episode here today. Alright, so I think we're good to go now. Let's go and let that play. We're going to have to do a bunch of construction here in a minute. I guess we can go ahead and do that now. Let's go and take a look at our economy. And just see what's the most expensive. So there's those clippers, which isn't really our problem. Rubber's really expensive. Not surprising there. I almost feel like we're going to have to... Yeah, we might have to start reducing the amount of rubber that we're using. Now, we're already doing the protect domestic supply. And yet we still see somebody attempting to trade for it. Alright, so I think we could do something for the fine art. Yeah, why not? We'll do something for the fine art there. And you know what? We've been building in Pennsylvania. Maybe we'll build somewhere else. I think we have those art studios in Pennsylvania. Maybe we'll build somewhere else for it. Tobacco. Need to get more of that. Coal and tools. As well as dye. I don't think we'll be able to fix the telephones. I think those are just going to have to be more expensive, guys. Since those do require the rubber that we just don't have enough of. Alright, so let's go ahead and start with the art academies. So we have the 2 in Pennsylvania. Let's do 1 level in New York here. And then the next thing would be that tobacco. That'll be here in agriculture. Alright, so let's get... Could just continue building here, but let's go based off of where they have the most peasants. And it does look like we need to get some more in Georgia. So we're going to go up to level 15 in Georgia. Level 10 in Louisiana. Pennsylvania can get it as well. Massachusetts. I think we might keep these in the south, though. West Virginia. So that should be pretty good. Now, coal would be next. Let's get more of those coal mines. Always needing more coal. You know, we'll go up by 5 in all of these locations here. Some in Iowa as well. More in Virginia. Looks like we're already building some in Indiana, but we'll do a bit more there. Some more in Oklahoma. Ohio. North Dakota. And Illinois. So that should bring down the cost some at least. So tools would be next. It does suck we're over here about to have this war break out and we're spending all this time doing construction right now. Obviously not the thing we want to be working on at the moment. But it's got to be done. I guess we do in both of these. And let's just go by 10 here in Illinois. Get some more in New Mexico. And we'll do more in Kansas as well. Alright, so that's looking pretty solid. Let me just see if there's anywhere that has a lot of peasants that we might want to build new tooling workshops there. We'll do Indiana. They're one of the places that had the lower standard of living, so makes sense to construct there. And Texas. Yeah, we'll do Texas as well. We'll get like 5 right there. Alright, so that should bring down the tooling costs by quite a bit. And then the dyes will be the last thing that we'll get here. So let's get more synthetic plants. I could see if there's any more space here and workers to extend the dye plantations. But the thing is that we have a lot of other good things here. So do we want to get dye? Now, honestly, we should probably refine what we're doing here, period. Because, like, you know, some of these things we can get elsewhere, and there's all this really rare stuff here. And this one's actually losing money. So, you know, let's go and get rid of both of these, so we can focus on stuff that we actually need. So get more dye plantations. The cotton's another thing we can get elsewhere. I know this is going to piss people off, but, and I just reduced the size of that coffee plantation because it keeps moving them. So it's kind of frustrating. Because it sorts us based on the number that you have of them. So the one you have the most of is right here. And say I was bouncing all over the place and I accidentally canceled one of our coffee plantations, so we didn't want to do that. So yeah, we'll go ahead and increase the size of the coffee plantations, the banana plantations. I don't know that we're going to need to do sugar, though sugar does look like it is more expensive. I suppose we can go up to like level 5 here. Tobacco, we'll probably take that down as well. Again, this is going to result in some radicals, but it's not a big issue. We want to make sure we're using the arable land as best as we can. So for here, probably the dye plantations, honestly. Although we can get dye elsewhere, where like coffee we cannot. So maybe we should do coffee all the way up to level 10 then. Yeah, that might make sense. Sugar's another thing we can actually do elsewhere. So we could reduce, you know what? Yeah, let's not even do. We'll leave the 2 levels there because we already deleted a lot of stuff here, guys. Bananas, you know, we can get fruit elsewhere. So not too worried about that. I'm thinking it really needs to be the dyes and the coffee plantations. So work on that for now. All right, excellent. All right, so plenty of stuff to build. Should at least get us up to the start of the war, and then we'll have to construct a bunch of stuff again. Let me just see if there's anything here we need to be aware of. Yeah, we already know. Okay, but actually, this is actually a different route. The steamers. We already took care of that as well. Yeah, we know about these expensive government goods. Yeah, we can get all this taken care of eventually. So we're definitely improving the situation here as our GDP goes up. But once we start mobilizing, this is going to get very expensive, guys. But luckily we do have the 24 million in the gold reserve, so that should last us for some time. But let's go and get our troops raising up now. Since we know this is going to break out into war, Canada's not going to give us that territory. Maybe they give us Ontario, but I highly doubt they're going to give that to us. That's one reason why we wanted it to be the main one too. If we just added like one of these partial states in, they probably would have just gave in and gave it to us. Maybe not. It really depends on how confident they're currently feeling. I guess we'll look at that real quick. They're definitely worried. This is the British though, that are currently the leader of this diplomatic play. So I think we should probably just mobilize all of our generals. Problem is, we actually, well, I guess we don't want Eugene Wickel, but I don't think he can. I think he's still stuck on that mission, isn't he? Yeah, he's still busy. So he's the new broken one. But the problem here is that we don't actually have all of our generals assigned yet everywhere we need them. So let's go ahead and get, I'm not sure if we want to have higher level generals. I could see promoting Sherman. So yeah, let's go ahead and promote Sherman, although I don't know that we actually have any excess divisions here in the Midwest. We might not. Let me just double check here. I might not have built any further in the Midwest. I did not. So in his current location, that's not the guy that you want to promote. Longstreet's pretty good now. He's got the expert offensive and expert defensive. He's brave too. And he's in the Dixie HQ, so it makes sense to promote him because he's pretty good. He is old. Yeah, let's go ahead and promote him. So that'll give him 40 units. Looks like there aren't any other units in the Dixie HQ. But yeah, let's go and get somebody for the Great Plains HQ, the New England one, and the Pacific one. And what we might do is just maybe have one general here in the New England one. We'll take a look and see who we end up hiring here. So this will be the first guy we get. I think our best choice here is Ansel Bitgood. He's with the bourgeoisie, and he's just got better traits overall. This guy, Turner Pfizer, he's reckless and a pillager. Yeah, he's just not a good option, guys. So I think he's the better option. He does have this penalty here, but there's also the bonus there. He's got the woodland combat expert, the artillery commander, and the explorer. So we'll recruit him. He's not a great choice though, honestly. He's probably not somebody that we're going to want to promote to level 2. We'll probably just get another guy. Of course, if we don't want Turner, then we have to pick Chaffee. He's innovative and an offensive planner, so I think he's a fine choice. He's also with the armed forces. So go ahead and get him appointed. This is all going to cost us bureaucracy, but we actually have plenty of bureaucracy here. And we need one for the Pacific Coast. And he's going to continue being the only other choice here. So we got a Jeffrey McCallum with the Intelligentsia. He is unfortunately wounded. That reduces his health. He's cruel. That'll increase devastation, but also increase kill rate. And he's offensive planner, so we're going with him. And the Great Plains HQ needs a general as well. And we got a Roosevelt, Cassius Roosevelt. He's a pillager and he's cautious. So it's basically the cautious guy versus the reckless guy, since they're both pillagers. He does have the terrain bonus there. As you can see, reckless is overall, I mean, it's not terrible. You get an increased offense. The aggressive maneuver chance is going to be increased, but you also have an increase for the blunder chance, a pretty significant increase, and it reduces recovery rate. So it might be better to go, I mean, he can only control 16 units, so whatever, I guess we're going to go with him. We're going to have a reckless guy out there. It'll be fine. All right, so that is without conscripts. So if we want to have more troops on these fronts, we would have to hire more generals. So we're going to wait to see just how many troops the British raise up, but we'll go ahead and mobilize all of our generals. Obviously, don't want him to be raised up, but he can't, so it's not a problem. So we're going to raise them all up, and that's 100-something battalions. So yeah, we'll see what happens here. Remember, the British have already raised their own troops up. And we'll put them on the front. I suppose we're going to put them now, because they already have their units moving over here. Now, there are multiple fronts. So we have one here, and then we have the one over here. Though it looks like this is all one front. I thought the Great Lakes would split it up. But apparently not. So basically, that makes it kind of easy. Because all you have to do is just basically set all of them up to defend or attack on this front. So with James Longstreet, I think he should be our offensive guy. So he'll head over there with that order. McCullum is also an offensive guy, so we're going to have him advance the front. We won't have them all advancing the front, though. We'll have some on defense. Sherman will be advancing, though. And I think with this guy, he's going to sit on defense, since he's not one of our better generals here. He might be a decent defensive one, too. So put him on the defensive order. He'll go on offense. And I believe that's it. Yeah, there we go. So I think we have 2 generals on defense, and the rest are all on the offense. So they'll get over there. And, you know, the British have to send their troops here. It does take them time, but I think they'll probably be here by the outbreak of the war. So as of right now, we currently have the advantage on this front. We'll see how that changes. I do expect we're probably going to have to raise some conscripts up, and I don't think any of our generals can currently command any further troops, since we did build those troops up, you know, so that they could fit into the generals' numbers here. So we can either promote, which I guess we could promote Sherman and raise up his troops. Yeah, we can either promote them or hire new guys. And I think we'd want to promote Sherman's, and we're going to raise up conscripts for him. So that'll be in the Midwest HQ. So let's go and do that now. Let's go and promote him up to level 2. And then we'll raise up his conscripts. How many can he command again? Is it 80? Something like that? I think it's like 80. Let me just double check here. Yeah, 80 is what he can currently control. And you'll notice that we can now raise up a lot more troops in these states than we could before. So some of these states could bring up 80 all on their own. Here you got 100 just in Ohio. So it might be difficult to get it exactly at 80. But that's okay. Yeah, it's going to be really difficult to get it exactly at 80. You could probably do it. But yeah, I'm not willing to figure it out. So we're just going to do, I think this would work here. That'd be 84. So 4 more than we need. Yeah, we'll just do those 2. I think that makes sense. So it's going to be Kentucky and Missouri. All right, and then those units will go straight over to our general. Austria did declare... Oh, wait a minute. Britain backed down. Okay, I'm actually very surprised that they decided to back down there. Maybe because they were in their own other war over here, and so that's why. I don't think the Canadians would have backed down, but because Britain took over there, and maybe they just didn't see it as worth it. All right, that's unfortunate because I actually wanted the war to happen. But it does make sense that they backed down there because they weren't going to win that. So we have a rubber rush. Rubber has been successfully grown in American Panama. The fragile nature of these trees and their difficult to meet conditions make this achievement exceptionally important. So we can say this place seems to be the most effective. We'll discover resources in rubber plantations of American Panama, and we'll get the plus 25% migration attraction. Or you say, caution, we don't want to exhaust the soil. So it seems to be that the effect is whether it's going to be on all of Panama, the entire state, which we don't control most of, or if it's going to be on American Panama, just our little section of the state. Yeah, sure, we'll do this one. Get more people rushing over there. And it looks like this is the same exact event. So I think they're going to get the double modifier there. I think we've seen that before. They get both of those modifiers. So yeah, kind of a shame that... we were only able to get one state, but this is not a useless state here. As we've talked about this, this is a location where it'd be great to get electricity because they have the Niagara Falls. Now, looking at New York, I did want to see how much higher they could have gotten. I know that we're still getting throughput bonuses here. I don't know if there's any way to see the maximum, but we could continue to increase the size here and still get bonuses. But let's spread it out and build over here. If they have the population, they do have 106,000 peasants, so we can build here. In addition to be able to get the electricity, they have the arms industry here already. They also have sulfur mines, logging camps with the ability to get some oil. We've gotten tobacco here, livestock ranches, and wheat farms. They already have level 2 rels as well. All right, so let's go and start with the electricity, guys. The power plants. And I'm not sure where we're looking on electricity at the moment. I can't really see very well in there. I mean, it's a little bit expensive. It's not too bad. I think just getting up to level 5 would probably be pretty good here. You know what? Actually, we have all that stuff built in that's going to use electricity, so we'll go up to level 10. Yeah, I think that'll be good. We also would want to take a look at their production methods and make sure these are all switched over to what we're currently using. Every time we get a state, we should probably do this. I haven't been always doing it. Unless we have those issues where, you know, states are using different things. It causes some confusion when we look in there. We don't really have much of a workforce issue here. So I don't think we need to get too crazy with this. When it comes to some of these production methods. They've already adopted the automatic irrigation. And I don't think I changed this one over. Livestock ranches. I've already switched over to most of these, but yeah, we could go with electrical fences if we wanted to. I don't think that's necessary. Go over to the publicly traded though. With the wheat farms, let's have them do the vineyards. Since wine is what we need. And the publicly traded. And then we'll get these barracks changed up as well. And there we go. Good to go. Alright, so we don't need to further decrease relations with the British any longer. The Germans do not like us. Nobody probably likes us. So let's go and start improving relations again all over the world. Although, you know what? We don't want to do it in too many places at once. Because we need that infamy decay. So I think that's probably good for now. We'll just do France and Germany, or the North German Federation, as they're currently called. So now it's just another period of burning off infamy here. We're back in the #1 slot. I don't think we lost it for very long. Yeah, France has declined in prestige while we increased in prestige. The British are far behind both of us. And yeah, looking at GDP, we continue to kind of just take off here. The French GDP actually dipped there for a little while. Same with the British. The British, they're probably having issues because of the war that they're still currently fighting. We got the radio production for the electrics industry. Okay, so we'll take a look at that in a minute. Let's first see what's going on over here. So it looks like Spain and Algeria are going to be fighting each other. The Portuguese have already joined the Spanish side. Yeah, this is not something that we care about. The French are leaning to helping Spain, while Two Sicilies is leaning towards helping Algeria. Let's go and declare our neutrality. We also have an election upcoming here. So we might need to give this a minute to update, or everybody's just voting for the Communist Party here in the United States. Maybe give this a week or so, and then we'll take a peek at it again. Oh yes, and that's right, I did forget about our new production method. So the question is, do we want to even change over to this? If I can find it here. I know it's in the urban section, but we're just rolling right past it. So do we want to produce radios? So if we were to do this, we'd get less telephones. Obviously we get the radios, and this would cost electricity while increasing the number of engineers. So not worried about the cost of electricity going up. But the question is, do we want to start producing these radios yet? So basically, radios can be used in the barracks and the conscription centers and the naval bases, all the military stuff. And it's also consumed by POPs. It's considered one of the luxury items. And so if we were to hover over the luxury items needs, you can see that is fulfilled by luxury clothes, luxury furniture, porcelain, and radios. So I'm not entirely sure we should switch over that until we actually have a need for it in the barracks and the conscription centers. Yeah, I really think we should focus on telephones, because telephones are kind of expensive already. And I guess we didn't get that soon enough. But yeah, they're already expensive as it is. And they cost rubber to produce. And clearly we need to switch all of these up here. And so when we'll start needing those for the army is squad infantry. So that'll require radios. Now for the fleet, I think we're actually already researching the tech that'll allow us to get dreadnoughts. And that requires radios as well, though not very many. So I suppose once we get that, yeah, I guess we'll need it to be able to make use of it. So it does make sense to switch over at least some of our locations to radios. But do we want to switch over all of them? I don't think so. Yeah, I think maybe just do a few. So I think we have these in just these 2 locations. So what we could do is have Pennsylvania produce the radios, while Oregon will continue to produce telephones. And they'll still produce the telephones as well. Well, let's go ahead and step Oregon up. I know this is going to require rubber that we don't really have, but yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, we got Ontario, and so the map looks even worse. So that's great. We didn't get control of any of this. So that's unfortunate that they backed down. I'm actually really surprised they backed down. I did not expect them to do so. I thought we were going to end up fighting that. And this is unlikely to happen here. We can declare another interest, so we'll go ahead and do that. And there's not a lot of choices left. It's really just over here in Europe now. So we'll put the Balkans in there. And we are very much improving our current situation when it comes to the finances. Yeah, this is getting much better, guys. And we're still producing as well, so that's not what's changed here. So that's the Dreadnought. So let's go ahead and get a tech selected. And I don't think we need any more military techs at the moment. Because, yeah, we have to wait a while before we can attempt to attack the British again. And so instead we'll probably get something either for society or for industry. Get more authority would be helpful since we do have so little authority. These techs no longer going to take that long to get. We are now getting our full maximum innovation because of all that production that we did at the universities. In fact, we're probably above the cap now. But that is not wasted. Remember, that is added to the technology spread. Yeah, you see 38.43 from unspent innovation. So it's still useful to have them. I don't think you really need to go above it just for technology spread. But remember, that's being applied to 3 different techs. In the case of us, it's concrete dockyards, macroeconomics, and electric arc processing. So yeah, it's pretty useful. And this here is going to give us a plus 50% trade route volume and plus 25% trade route competitiveness. That'll allow us to get that last health institution, the last level there. That'll be another production method for the universities. There's a lot of good stuff to get here, guys. But I think we'd already decided that we wanted to get these, so let's go and start working on those. We'll get the plastics next. I'm not sure if it's still one of the expensive goods. It looks like it's not at the moment. All that production we did for the glass works, but it's something that's always costing us a bit. And the grand plan pays off. I think we might have seen this event before. And so we can give them more momentum, which seems like they don't need, because they have all the momentum. Everybody is voting, apparently, for the Communist Party, because I think they're the only party. That's interesting. Because, communists typically don't allow other parties in the country. Typically the Communist Party comes to power and then they outlaw all the parties and start suppressing them. But I don't think that's a mechanic in the game at all. So yeah, very strange that there's no other political parties. And that they are really powerful, the trade unions are. 27% clout, which means they have almost double the amount of clout of the second most powerful, which is the industrialists. But yeah, very interesting. There's no other political parties, so that's all anybody can vote for. So that's kind of strange. So we don't really need to give them any further momentum. That'd be pretty useless. Instead, we'll just go with this. That's also not that helpful since we aren't getting any loans, and we don't need a higher gold reserve limit right now either. Though we might end up going into loans, I suppose, if we continue, operating at a loss here. But you can see this is getting better, or at least it was. It'll continue to get better though as our GDP increases, as we continue all this production here. We can actually add a bit more to production. We're definitely getting a lot more demand for the tea now. We could go ahead and start trading for some, because this is a bit more demand than there has been in the past. There's a lot of English people here and they want tea, and we don't import any. So yeah, it would make sense to probably bring some in. We don't need a ton of it. But yeah, I don't want to go this high. I mean, I guess that would appease the demand that we're currently sitting at. So yeah, why not? This is the most profitable, so we'll go with this one here. So we'll do that trade. Get some tea to our English population. Rubber, we'll take a look, see if there's any import routes. We're going to trade with the French, despite it not being productive. Our trade centers make so much money that it's not going to be that big of an issue, guys. Fine art continues to get more expensive as our pops get more and more money. So we can go ahead and add another art academy here. Also, it seems we're continuing to have market access issues. Yeah, that just keeps on being an issue for us. Okay. So we'll build up 2 levels here in New York. And let's go ahead and fix any market access issues that we currently have. They're at level 15 for the rails right now. And just build like 2 in each of these locations that is currently having market access issues. Probably build 1 in Ontario too. We're just going to go through all our states again and build a bunch of these. In any states that might end up having issues anytime soon. North Carolina, for instance, Georgia. Yeah, these are all going to start popping up as we are constructing. We've been constructing a lot for some time. So yeah, this is going to become a problem. So let's just take care of it. So we're looking pretty good in most of the states. Well, maybe not. Maybe about 50-50 perhaps. Yeah, those states are good enough, I suppose. We don't really build that much over there either. Want to take a look and our Central American states as well. We'll get both of these. Yeah, that's pretty good up there. Yeah, we could build in San Salvador. All right, so that's pretty good. Yeah. All right, so a lot of rails that we had to get constructed there to improve the situation we had here. So wine is continuing to be an issue. It's just really difficult to solve it as an issue, you know, because you only get, for each wheat farm, you're only getting 10. So we're going to continue trying to import it where we can. But yeah, it's just going to be a consistent problem for us. Our people drank a lot of wine, apparently. So yeah, let's get more wheat farms. And we're going to do these in, let's see where we're currently sitting at here. And we'll see if there's any other locations as well. You know, let's base this off of the population. So yeah, we'll do 5 in Massachusetts, 5 in New York. We'll do 15 in South Dakota, 10 in Connecticut. Yeah, we're just gonna build all these. We'll go all the way up to 25 here in Kansas. And maybe, yeah, I built a little bit too much there, but yeah, we need a lot of this, guys. All right, so that's looking pretty good right there, guys. Yeah, we'll do up to 10 here. Grain is getting incredibly cheap, and it is making it difficult for these to be profitable. So we might actually have to sell some of our grain for once. Just trying to bring the cost of wine down. It's been difficult. Tools. Always need more tools. Need those explosives as well. So let's get more tooling workshops. We're actually still constructing tooling workshops, but yeah, we're probably going to need more, guys. Yeah, I expect we will. So we'll go up to 20 here in Alabama, 30 in Georgia, 35 in Illinois, and maybe 15 in New York. And then the explosives. I don't know if we'll do anything for coffee. We'll have to take a look at Guatemala. Yeah, I think it would make sense to build that out too, if we can. Yeah, we want to get the explosives. So let's go ahead and do that next here with our chemical plants. And the fertilizer was getting a bit expensive too with all of these, all these wheat farms that we're currently building. So let's go up to 15 here in Ohio, 10 in Texas, 10 in Colorado. In fact, let's go up even higher here in Texas. All right, so that looks pretty good for the chemical plants. And I think that's probably it. I suppose we can do lead mines. Yeah, we'll do a few lead mines here in Illinois. All right, so that's looking pretty solid. So the last thing to look at is the coffee here in Guatemala. See how they're doing on population? Yeah, they have a lot of available population. And we can go ahead and, well, we can keep the logging camps going since they don't have any population issues. Yeah, we do need more coffee. We're currently getting coffee. Let's bring it up to 15. Or 16, I suppose, is what we're bringing it up to. All right, so that'll work. So we got a lot of stuff in the queue now. So should keep them busy for some time. And by the end of it, we should see our GDP will be significantly higher. So when does our truce end with the British? I assume that will still be quite infamous by the time it ends, though our infamy is burning off fairly quickly. Oh, that's right, because they backed down. So yeah, we didn't have as much. But we still pissed off all those people. Alright, so let's just take a look and see when this truce is going to end. 1897. Election's over. The communists got all the votes. Surprise, surprise. And so the current legitimacy is not very high. I always feel like we should bring the intelligentsia out. Because, yeah, we have... I mean, it's not that big of a deal because we're not passing any laws or anything. The rural folks still want to join the Communist Party, though. So we're going to have to let them do that. The legitimacy will be very high now. So we're just going to confirm that. And the intelligentsia are no longer in the government. which there hasn't been very many periods of time in this campaign where we didn't have the intelligentsia in the government. I think they've been in the government for the majority of it. We do have a lot more radicals than we've had before. Still a lot of loyalists, though. We get higher max level for ports because we got those concrete dockyards. We're kind of a useless tech overall. I mean, it's useful to have the one more port level. We have a lot of coastline, though. And not really any issues with not having enough port space right now. So kind of useless for us. Doesn't really help us that much. And really for a tech, it just doesn't seem like it does enough to be worth it. But that's one of the things you'll see with the technology tree. You know, they all have the same cost, you know, in that same level, but they don't have the same benefit. There are some that are really, really good and important to get, and other techs that are, you know, almost useless. They just aren't going to help you all that much. Workers of the world. Internationalist sentiment within the trade unions has generated suggestions to reach out to workers in Lower Canada. So we can say class above nation. And this is going to decrease the approval with both the industrialists, which means we'll lose that bonus with them, and the southern planters. They're kind of insignificant. It don't really matter. Where you say these unpatriotic ideas will fade. It'll piss them off, but they're quite loyal. Now, this would increase opinion with Canada, the main bonus of it, and that's not even something we want to do. So yeah, we'll just go with this one. And we have a lot of loyalty to lose with them. They're very pleased with us. And I assume some of that's from the laws that we passed, but I'm not sure why they're that loyal. Is it all from... Let's just take a look here rather than speculating. Yeah, a lot of it's from the laws we have in place. Yeah, it looks like they're just really happy with the way our country's set up. And we're still getting a bonus from that last law that we passed for the protected speech. We are getting some negatives from other things, but a big part of it is the political strength in the interest group is loyalists. So a lot of these loyalists here are the workers. And we're actually earning money now. Huh, that's interesting. That was a significant change there. But our GDP also just increased significantly too. We're at 606 million now. Kind of just jumping back and forth all over the place at the moment. But we're in the positive. That's what matters. We're once again stacking money on top of our big old pile of gold that we already have. Now, again, it doesn't look like it with this bar here, but yeah, this is, you know, as our economy has grown, we have a much larger bar now. And so that 22.8 million is just a small part of it. Seems the armed forces are not happy, so get a cheaper technology cost. Yeah, our country has changed significantly as far as like interest groups go throughout this campaign. Did want to kind of dip in here and kind of look at, we don't have a lot of time left in the episode, just see how urbanized things have become. And I think this is something to do with the amount of loyalists here. Look at all these fireworks. I think if you got a lot of loyalists, you get the fireworks. This got to be what it is. Our people are ecstatic. Look at all this. At least over here they are. So as you can see, much more urbanized throughout this region. Philadelphia is much bigger. We built a lot there. Pittsburgh's larger as well. You know, all this is more urbanized overall. We'll kind of dip down these Atlantic southern states. And seeing here in Florida, they're growing. And just going to dip through all the south here. We do have a diplomatic play that just started up. Looks like that's in Africa. Declare our neutrality. Let's go and take a look at Texas. The Houston. Little town here. Galveston's pretty decent size. Dallas. We now have Dallas. My wife is from this area of Texas up here. I think it's around here somewhere. It's actually closer to Oklahoma than Texas, but we're about 2 hours from Dallas. We lived there for a little while. I say a little while. We lived there for like 7 years. Her hometown area. I hated it, which is why we moved to Colorado as soon as I finished college. That's where I worked at the prison when I was a correction officer. I worked in Texas. And yeah, I quit my job and used my GI Bill to go to college finally. So I was a lot older than all the other students when I did that. I think I started college at 25 or something like that. And it looks like that one war is finally over. And I was looking at this and I wasn't looking at the checks. You know, it does have to be checked for that to mean that they actually got what they wanted. So they did not get what they wanted here. The Scandinavian market has been forced to be open, and the Germans did conquer that state. So yeah, now they control all this here. Okay, so I think they'll probably form Germany soon. Maybe not, though. There's a different situation here in the south. Look at this. Austria has conquered all this territory here. And then you have a stronger Bavaria. Yeah, I'm not sure that maybe they'll just stay the North German Federation because the rest of Germany is all in the hands of Austria or a very strong Bavaria that might not be interested in joining the North German Federation. So yeah, they might not be able to form Germany. Maybe they'll just stay the North Germans. That's an interesting development here that we've seen. But unfortunately, that will have to be the end of today's episode. We need to get some stuff constructing. As you guys can see, we have gotten all that stuff done here. GDP has now increased up to 617 million, just dramatically leaving the other countries behind, though France is still doing pretty good. 399 million, almost 400 million, but still quite well below us. Our population has increased. We're at 58.5 million now. So now the fourth most populous place in the world. And our standard of living has been overtaken by Montenegro. They're at 22, while we're at 21.4, but we're still both much higher than the rest of the world. And most importantly, we're much higher than the other great powers. But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy today's episode. If you did, make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell, and leave a comment. Do hope to see you on the next one. And thanks for watching.